Time, it's the one currency that can never be earned back. It slips through your fingers no matter how tightly you try to hold it. Every second that passes is a silent reminder that the future is approaching, whether you're ready or not. You can't stop it, you can't rewind it, you can only decide what to do with the moment that's in front of you. The world doesn't pause for hesitation. It doesn't wait for those who are unsure or afraid. It moves forward, with or without you, and the only question that matters is, will you move with it? There comes a point in every life where comfort becomes a trap, a quiet, invisible cage built out of safety and routine. You wake up, you follow the pattern. You do what's expected, and you call it stability. But deep down, you feel it, that subtle, restless ache. The sense that you were made for more. That your story isn't supposed to be average. That something inside you is built to change things, yet still, so many people wait. They wait for the right time. They wait for clarity, for courage, for someone else to say go. But time doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. The clock doesn't care about your doubts. It keeps ticking, steady, unstoppable, unforgiving, and right now, somewhere, something important is depending on your decision. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's your dream. Maybe it's the version of you that you've always wanted to become, the one you keep pushing into tomorrow. You tell yourself, I'll start when I'm ready. But readiness is a myth. Nobody is ready when it matters most. The people who change the world aren't those who waited for the perfect moment, they're the ones who acted in spite of the chaos. Time rewards the bold. Every great moment in history began with someone who decided that waiting wasn't an option anymore. Someone who stood at the edge of uncertainty and said, if not now, when? The world doesn't remember the comfortable, it remembers the courageous. It remembers those who looked at the ticking clock and decided to move before it struck zero, because here's the truth, you don't run out of time, you run out of chances. Each day that passes is a door that quietly closes behind you. Each someday you whisper is a moment you'll never get back. And someday, when you look back, you'll realize that time was never your enemy, hesitation was. Fear was. Doubt was. The world is waiting for you to make your move. Not because you owe it something, but because you have something it needs. There's a perspective, an idea, a spark that only you carry. You were born into this exact moment in history for a reason. Out of billions of possibilities, you're here, now. And that means something. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs a voice. It needs someone who chooses to act, even when the path isn't clear. Someone who refuses to let the ticking clock be a countdown to regret. Think about it, every second you hesitate, someone else is deciding. Someone else is taking the leap, writing the story, building the future. And one day, you'll either watch them from the sidelines, or you'll stand beside them because you chose to move when it mattered most. The question isn't what if it goes wrong. The real question is, what if it works? What if everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of that single decision you keep postponing? Every hero, every leader, every innovator once stood where you stand, at the crossroads of fear and potential. They weren't fearless. They just decided that fear wouldn't decide for them. They heard the same ticking of time that you do now, and they answered it, because time is not patient, it doesn't negotiate. It doesn't bend to your excuses or your comfort zones. It keeps moving forward, indifferent, relentless, dragging the hesitant along with it, leaving only those who dared to act standing tall in its wake. There's no pause button. No second take. Just this, right here, right now. The world may not be watching you yet, but one day it will. One day, the ripples of your choice will reach further than you can imagine. The project you start today, the risk you take, the dream you finally chase, they will shape not only your life but the lives of others. Time doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for participation. It's not about knowing every step, it's about taking the first one. Because action creates clarity. Momentum creates direction. You'll never see the entire path, only the next few feet. But the moment you start walking, doors begin to open, and when they do, you'll realize something powerful. The world wasn't waiting for your success, it was waiting for your courage. The sound of the ticking clock isn't a threat, it's a call. A reminder that your life is happening now. Every choice you make is shaping the story that will be told about you one day. What will that story be? Will it be one of hesitation, of almosts and maybes? Or will it be one of action? Of courage, of relentless pursuit? The world doesn't owe you anything, but it's offering you everything, if you're willing to decide, so listen closely. The seconds are slipping away. The air is thick with possibility. The stage is set, the audience is silent, and the spotlight is waiting. It's your move. The world is waiting for your decision. There's something strange about time. It moves the same for everyone, yet it feels different depending on how you live it. To one person, a year feels like an eternity. To another, it passes in the blink of an eye. The difference isn't the length of the days, it's what you do inside them. The truth is, time expands or contracts based on the choices you make. When you're lost in distraction, time disappears. Hours vanish into endless scrolling, aimless waiting, safe routines. But when you live with purpose, even a single hour feels infinite, a lifetime condensed into a moment of clarity. The ticking clock becomes less of a threat and more of a rhythm. A pulse that reminds you you're still alive, still capable, still here. You see, the danger isn't in running out of time, it's in wasting the time you have. People fear death, but what they really fear is reaching the end and realizing they never truly lived. They fear the quiet moment before the end when they'll ask themselves, what if I had just started? We are surrounded by distractions designed to make us forget how precious time really is. We measure our worth in notifications, in likes, in the illusion of progress. We tell ourselves we're busy, but are we moving forward, or just moving in circles? Time doesn't care about activity, it rewards intention. The people who change things, the ones who leave marks on the world, don't have more hours than you. They have the same 24. The difference is, they decided that every second would mean something. They stopped waiting for the perfect moment because they realized it doesn't exist. There's a quiet kind of courage in deciding to take the first step, deciding to face what you've been avoiding, deciding that enough is enough, that your life deserves more than delay. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The dreamer sees the future and waits for it to arrive. The doer sees the same future and walks toward it, even when every step feels uncertain. The moment you decide, truly decide, the universe shifts. Paths that were hidden begin to appear. People, opportunities, and ideas begin to align in ways you couldn't have predicted. It's as if time itself begins to work with you instead of against you, because time respects movement. It rewards those who refuse to let it slip by unnoticed. Somewhere, right now, someone just like you is making a choice. They're scared too. They have doubts, fears, questions. But they've realized that fear doesn't fade with waiting, it only grows louder. So they act anyway, they hit publish. They make the call. They take the risk. And that one small moment becomes the spark that changes everything. You felt that spark before, that quiet whisper inside you that says, you could do more. But you silenced it. You called it unrealistic, too soon, too far-fetched. And yet, it keeps returning. That's not coincidence, that's purpose. That's the future trying to reach you before it's too late. The world is not asking for perfection, it's asking for presence. For someone who's willing to show up when it matters most, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin, because beginnings are powerful. They carry the weight of everything that can be, all the potential. All the growth, all the change. Most people never begin because they mistake uncertainty for danger. But uncertainty isn't danger, it's possibility. It's proof that the future is still unwritten, that you still have the power to shape it. Every second that passes is a choice, to create or to consume, to move or to wait, to live or to exist. The world you see around you was built by people who refuse to wait. Every invention, every piece of art, every movement, all of it came from someone who decided that time wasn't something to fear but something to use. You have that same power. You may not realize it now, but someone out there is waiting for what only you can give. A word. An idea, a creation, a gesture, something small that might change the course of their life. But they'll never receive it unless you decide to act. That's what makes your decision matter, because when you choose courage, you give permission for others to do the same. The ripple effect of one brave choice can reach further than you'll ever see. That's how revolutions begin. That's how legacies are built, not in grand gestures, but in small moments where someone decided to stop waiting and start doing. And if you're wondering whether it's too late, whether you've already missed your chance, it's not. As long as you're breathing, time is offering you another moment, another opportunity, another choice. But don't mistake the gift of another day for the promise of unlimited ones. The window won't stay open forever. There will come a day when you look back and realize that the door you kept saying you'd walk through has closed. Not because the world was cruel, but because you waited too long to turn the handle. The cruelest truth about time is that it never announces its ending. You never know when the last chance will come, only that it will, so don't waste your time wondering if you're ready. Use your time to become ready. There's a version of you out there, sharper, braver, stronger, waiting to be unlocked by a single decision. And that decision won't come from luck or fate or timing. It will come from you. You have more power than you think. You can turn the ticking of the clock into a drumbeat, a rhythm that drives you instead of haunting you. You can choose to see time not as a thief but as an ally, one that reminds you, moment after moment, that your life is happening now. Every sunrise is a question. Every sunset is an answer. And what fills the space between them is up to you. The world is watching, silently, waiting for your response. Time is running out, not as a threat, but as an invitation. An invitation to act, to live, to choose, and if you listen closely, you'll hear it, beneath the noise, beneath the doubts, the steady pulse of time whispering. There comes a moment when you realize that no one is coming to save you. No miracle, no perfect timing, no external rescue. Just you, standing face to face with your choices, your fears, your potential. That moment feels like silence, but in truth, it's the loudest moment of your life. It's the sound of time demanding an answer, the people who rise. The ones who rewrite their destiny, aren't different from you. They simply stopped waiting for permission. They understood that time doesn't grant approval, it only grants opportunity. And that opportunity is fleeting, fragile, and sacred. You can spend your life waiting for courage, or you can realize that courage only appears after you act. It's not the fuel that powers you forward, it's the reward that meets you once you move. Every person who ever achieved something great began in fear. Their hands shook. Their hearts raced. Their voices trembled. But they acted anyway. They understood that fear isn't a stop sign, it's a signal that you're standing at the edge of something important. The truth is, you will never be fearless. But you can be brave. And bravery is choosing movement despite the storm. Time respects the brave, because bravery bends the arc of destiny. It changes outcomes, rewrites endings, and builds legacies that outlast the body that created them. When you decide to act, when you finally say, "This is it." No more waiting. Something shifts inside you. The hesitation that once chained you begins to dissolve. You start to move differently, think differently, exist differently, and then, without even realizing it, you begin to inspire others, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Because people see themselves in your struggle, and when they see you act, they start to believe they can too. That's how one decision becomes 1,000. How one spark becomes a wildfire. Legacy isn't built in the future. It's built in the now, in every brave choice you make when no one is watching. You may think no one sees the effort, the sacrifice, the sleepless nights. But time sees. The world sees, eventually. Every quiet act of courage compounds into something unbreakable. The smallest decisions, repeated over time, become a foundation so strong that no storm can shake it, but to build it, you must start. Most people die long before their last breath. They die the moment they stop chasing something larger than themselves. They settle. They shrink. They convince themselves that mediocrity is safety, but safety isn't living, it's slow decay, and every second spent in hesitation is a piece of your life you'll never get back. You've felt that pull before, that call towards something bigger, something that scares you in all the right ways. That's not random. That's not a passing thought. That's destiny knocking. And the more you ignore it, the louder it gets. The danger isn't in dreaming too big. The danger is in dreaming too small, in convincing yourself that your life is meant to be ordinary when you were born with extraordinary potential. Time won't stop to remind you of that truth, but it will test you. It will place obstacles in your path not to block you, but to prove your resolve. Because purpose is not found in comfort, it's forged in resistance. The struggle you're facing isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every setback is sculpting you. Every failure is refining you. Every not yet is shaping your strength for the moment when the world finally says now. So don't curse the hard seasons. Thank them. They are the reason you'll be ready when opportunity arrives, and it will arrive, maybe not in the way you expect, but in the way you need. The world doesn't reward those who wait for things to happen. It rewards those who make things happen. The dreamers who build. The thinkers who act. The ordinary people who choose to do something extraordinary with the time they've been given. The ticking of the clock isn't just a reminder of what's slipping away, it's a measure of what you still have left. Each second is a seed. And what you plant in this moment will determine what grows in the next. If you plant excuses, you harvest regret. If you plant action, you harvest change. You may think your decision is small, one choice, one step, one risk, but time has a way of amplifying small beginnings. What feels insignificant now could echo across decades. That's the quiet power of a single decision. When you choose to rise instead of retreat, to try instead of fear, to move instead of wait, you change the timeline of your life. You rewrite what could have been into what will be. There's a strange comfort in knowing that the clock is ticking. It means you still have time to change, to build, to fight, to love, to live. But that comfort fades quickly if you mistake some time for forever. The truth is, you don't have forever. None of us do. That's why the moment matters. That's why your decision matters. Because the world doesn't need another person lost in hesitation, it needs someone who chooses. Someone who looks time in the eye and says, I'm ready. Maybe you've failed before. Maybe you've been told it's impossible. Maybe the world has tried to convince you to play small. But failure is not the end, it's evidence that you tried. And trying is the only proof that you're alive. Regret is a ghost that visits the silent, the ones who stayed quiet when their hearts screamed to act. Don't let that be you. When your story is told, when your time runs out, make sure it says something worth remembering. Make sure it says you decided, because time, for all its cruelty, is also fair. It gives every person the same chance, the chance to act, the chance to begin, the chance to choose. What you do with it is entirely up to you, so take a breath. Listen to the ticking. Feel the weight of this moment. It's not just another second, it's a crossroad between who you are and who you could become, and when you look back, years from now, you'll see that everything changed, right here, right now, in this heartbeat of time, when the world was waiting. And you finally decided.